Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Our campaign is entitled A Time to Harvest. It was written by Brian Sammons, Charles P. Zicklanis, Glenn Owen Barras, and Mike Mason, and it's available on the Chaosium website. Jeff Wilkins is our game master, and this is Chapter 4, Episode 6. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Jeff?
Thanks, Tom. So what did we do last week? We pretty much...
We climbed a cliff to see if we could find an entrance, and then we walked along the river and found an underwater tunnel.
Yep. You did see some sort of a cave entrance when you did climb up. You just didn't necessarily get to it. It was like, a little bit higher up than what you realized, and the thinking was, it was just Tug and Danny, and did you two of you want to go in there alone? And so you basically just like recon, you checked it out, it's there, and then you came back down.
Yeah, it was too high up, too dangerous. We need to go back and get some mountain climbing gear if we want to go in that way.
And then we pretty much ended it where you guys had fanned out a little bit more on the ground, and then that's when Jerry rolled an 01 and found a entrance possible in under the stream, under the water in the stream, and right. You were able to think up of a way where you chopped off a branch and stuck it down in the water, and you were able to tell that the water seemed to be going into the cave or in towards the mountain.
Right.
So it wasn't flowing out. And then I think that's where we ended it, right?
That's correct. Right there.
Do you guys want to pick up right there, or do you want to jump to wherever, or what do you guys want to do?
We determined that there was water flowing into the tunnel, mm-hmm. which I think is extremely dangerous, because it would mean that the water was going downhill in that direction. Well, the only thing I can think of, if we have a piece of rope, one of us could check and see if there's an air pocket on the other side. What do you guys?
Is anyone a good swimmer?
I am. I have some diving experience, though obviously not in a gear. I'd be keen to try it if y'all think you can pull me back up if it goes too deep.
Who's lighter, Jerry or me? Who's bigger? What's your
well, Tug, I'm complimented my presence is such that you could consider asking that question, but I think there's no question of our relative size.
There is. I just want to know how big you are.
I'm size 50, but only strength 40. So
you're smaller, and you're. Yeah. I'm a lot stronger.
Yeah, I'm sure you're more built. I'm sure Tug is more built than Jerry.
Well, let me do it. I can hold my breath for quite a bit.
Oh, that surprises me that you can swim. I thought sailors and rowers didn't learn to swim. There was superstition against that.
Not really a sailor, just.
Well, hopefully you remain in the boat more often than not.
I'll be cautious about it, but what should we do? Tie it around my ankle or tie it around my waist? Do we have a rope?
Tie it around your waist. That's the accepted.
Why are you wanting to go, Tug?
I just want to see if there's an air pocket on the other side.
Oh no, I know why someone should go, but you're surely heavier. Are you?
I'm stronger.
Well, that is for certain.
I can fight against the current better.
That looks like an underwater cavern behind you, Tug. I think you're in the right place.
Oh, no. I'm already there.
Well, Tug, I'll grant you most of my diving has been with more equipment than a rope, so, well, your boldness is a credit to your
so this
rowing
whole thing,
skill as well.
This whole thing is if we've got rope. So if we've got rope with us, then I'll strip down to my skivvies and tie the rope around my waist and dive in.
Well, I haven't got any rope.
Do we have any rope? Why did we come here? Well, we would have probably used the rope on climbing, wouldn't we?
Yeah, but we didn't have any when we were climbing. In terms of for climbing, anyway.
What about the lead?
Yeah. The dog's lead.
We could. It's 6 feet long, though. I don't think it would be long enough.
Whoever's feeling lucky, do a luck roll.
Well, I know I'm feeling lucky, but I also know I didn't bring it, so I'm not sure.
Go on, I'll do it. I've got 6.
Oh, good.
Out of whatever my luck is.
That's 180 feet of rope. All right, so let's do this.
You check the back of the car trunk, and it just happens to be just sitting there, just waiting.
Oh, hang on. What's this tied around the dog in the manner of a jacket?
Yeah.
Oh, was that in case you wanted to let him range a bit farther?
So the water. Go ahead.
After our climb up the mountain, Danny gives you a firm handshake and says, "Good luck, friends."
Let me just unweave my curious and unwieldy hat.
If I keep some tension on the rope, but don't pull on it, and if I yank on it a couple times, then pull me. Otherwise, I'll just swim back.
Okay, yes. If you get into trouble, give it a couple of yanks.
Who's on the other end?
I think we all are.
Yeah.
And Tug, if you don't tug on the rope, but don't come back for how long do you want us to pull you back anyway?
I can probably hold my breath for a good 4 minutes.
All right, so shy of 5 minutes, we'll pull you back.
I don't want to die, so I'm not gonna. If I feel it at all panicked, I'm coming right back. All right.
Well, that does your desire to remain living, does your confidence even more credit, Tug.
So what I'm going to do is how deep is the water where the cave is?
It's not really that deep. It's kind of like a pool almost, you know.
So maybe 10 feet deep?
Yeah, maybe 7 to 10.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to attempt to dive just off the shoreline, that way, towards the hole. And hopefully I can go right into the hole and up again.
Is it quite clear water? Would we be able to see him when he goes on?
I think it's reasonably, yeah.
And it's also going to be really damn cold. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Racing.
Right. So, swim roll?
Is everybody on so you've got the mountains here, you've got the creek here, the tunnel, the cave, right, whatever is here. Is everybody on the mountain side of the river, or are you guys on this side of the river with the rope?
I think they should be on that side of the river. Yeah.
This side?
With the mountain?
No.
With the mountain side. So it's kind of like right below you, in other words.
I'm thinking they should be across the river so that they can cross out.
Yes, I think we'd be on the bank.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. And I don't think, I mean, I don't know if there's anything to tie the rope to, but I don't think we should tie the rope to anything in case he goes further than we thought and finds an air pocket and can't get into it.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to roll. Swim?
Tug, wait. If we're about to pull you back and you don't want us to pull you back, we'll tug a couple of times first. If you tug back, will leave you in case you found an air pocket or gone further than planned.
All right, but after 4 minutes, pull me back no matter what.
Well, never mind then. I'm glad we've got that cleared up.
Okay, well, wait just a second. Wait for my watch to get to 12. Ready, steady, go.
I don't. 04. So that's on swim.
Okay.
Which is actually a critical. Wait, that's spot hidden. Swim. Yeah, 12 is a critical. So I got 4.
Okay.
So I go right into it. But I'm going to put my hands on the edge so that I don't get sucked in. I imagine it's pitch black.
Yeah, so say that again. What? Because the current's flowing in. So
right. So I'm going down, but I'm going to put my hands on the edge of the cave.
Okay.
So that I can drift in a little bit and see if I see anything up here. I'm going to have to go in and go up to see if I touch the roof.
Okay.
Holding my breath.
Yep.
To see if I come out somewhere or if I'm still underwater.
I'm trying to think how we can do this with some dice. If anybody has ideas, because
dexterity.
Maybe a constitution roll for the breath holding.
Okay, I like that idea.
Okay.
So let me just. So you just rolled, right, Tom?
Yeah, 19.
19. Okay, good. All right. So the first moment you dive into the water, the cold water shocks you, right? You know, you were kind of embracing for it, but it's still like colder than what you thought.
Sure.
You dove in. It's this cold, but you keep going. The momentum of your dive pulls you in. You get to the entrance, and you feel the current starting to pull you in. Like you said, you're sort of grabbing the sides or the roof, whatever you can kind of manage. And the current is not particularly strong, although it's certainly noticeable, right? It's not. It's like you're glad you had the rope idea. If you didn't have the rope, things would be very dicey here. So now what I want to try to get a sense of when you first sort of enter. Now the rest of you, I'm not going to make you take your headphones off or anything, but the rest of you, right, you just see the rope unwinding, right? So it's just a matter, his feet disappear into the cave cavern, and now it's like you guys are just left with tension, right? It's what waiting for that tug that hopefully never comes. Tug, when you get under that first entrance, like you said, it's pretty much pitch black. It's really dark down here.
So I'm swimming with my hands this way. I don't want to hit anything.
So would that be fair to say? Are you swimming like cautiously?
Yes.
Meaning,
and I'm trying to keep a hold of something, a rock or something on the wall.
Okay.
I'm testing for this thing. Obviously, if there's air, it's going to be up here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm looking for. If I go up and I'm just feeling roof and nothing else,
mm-hmm.
then I'll give it a minute and see if I can find anything. Then I'm going to try to go back.
Okay. All right. So that first maybe 10 feet or so, you're going along the roof, and you're feeling stone pretty much right up there.
Okay.
You can every now and then you can kind of catch a glimmer. You know how when the air pockets form, it kind of like shimmers like a mirror. Right. So you're kind of seeing little air pockets or bubbles.
Okay.
Occasionally, and then at some point you have to decide you're going to keep going further in, or.
I'd say I only go in maybe 15 feet before I start to get. If I don't find anything, I'm going to start freaking out and going back.
Okay. All right. So that's
now. If I turn around, I should be able to see the light from the cave entrance. Easy.
Yes, it's definitely there, although it is still dark, right? It's just a glow, similar to your background image, where it's you're getting that glow, but you can't necessarily make out any details. Or, and of course, the further you go in, the darker that glow.
Darker it gets, right?
So I guess it's safe to say, judging from the way you're sort of describing it, you're being cautious about this, right? You're not being like,
extremely, right?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you've got a good sense, you know, your air is lasting. You're getting to the point where you're starting to get nervous. You're starting to like, there's nothing obviously jumping out at you as far as air pockets or another room or what have you. You're just about ready to turn around and head back. And in the underwater, you can hear, maybe it sounds like rushing water.
Okay.
I mean, you're in water, right? And so it's almost, I can, I'm not sure if I'm describing it right, but you hear something underwater that sounds like rushing water.
Okay.
Okay. So you never actually see anything.
Okay.
You hear something.
Okay. What I think that is, I am going to immediately turn around and start back and maybe yank on the rope.
Okay.
So that they pull.
Okay.
And now I'm just making sure I'm not hitting my head on anything as I'm being pulled back. If they're pulled. Okay.
Well, if he tugs, we pull, or at least Jerry does.
Although I'm remembering so when he tugs, you guys are supposed to tug back?
No, well, that was not what I suggested.
Oh, okay.
I suggested that, yeah. There was no question that if he tugs, we pull back.
I just remember that as you were describing that, I'm imagining Tug's intelligence level and my intelligence level, and I was getting confused. So I'm wondering now if, like, the three of you are tugging, and Tug's tugging, and then you tug back, and then Tug tugs back, like, more urgently. And
well, my tugging would be I'll pull the rope as I'm going towards.
So after that little bit of, you managed to safely pull yourself up and out.
Okay, so I hit the surface.
Yep.
How long was it before he tugged on the rope?
I'll say it was at least a minute, maybe two, kind of. Because you were playing it safe, right, Tug? Is that fair to say?
Right.
Well, you must have found something.
So I'm swimming over to the edge, and I've got to get out because it's cold. Give me a second. I could have died.
Well,
I didn't really find anything except that I could hear rushing water. So what I'm thinking is that right on the other side of that hole, there's a pool. So I was in the pool, but somewhere in the end of that pool was water rushing out of it, because the water is rushing out of it at some point. And if I'd have gotten in that current, I'd have been sucked probably right out of your hands. So I couldn't see anything. It was pitch black. But that's what I could feel. So I didn't feel any air pockets. I don't know. That might not be a safe way to go at all.
Could it have been a waterfall?
It could have been, but it could have been I was at the top of the waterfall. And about to be shot out into God knows where.
So I turned to Sam. He's with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sam, how quickly do you think our employer could get some diving gear out here?
Yeah, Sam's been thinking about that. You guys mentioned the airplane idea, so he's been trying to think as to what's the best way to get in touch with Abelard back at headquarters. And really there's two options that he came up with. One is simply just write a letter, just drop it in the post, and hopefully it gets there in a couple days. Being a small town, I would have to go through a series of, small towns as the next bigger town and so forth. The only other, maybe you would gain a little extra time, is if you actually hired somebody to either drive directly to Detroit or drive to one of the bigger cities?
It would be much faster to drive back to Miskatonic. It's nothing fancy, certainly nothing like this newest invention, but I have a few things of my own. If I could get back to the campus.
You know, I just realized too, I wasn't even thinking about this, but there's probably a phone in Cobb's Corner. Somebody's got to have a phone somewhere.
Yeah.
Sure,
well, the only issue with that is whether or not it would be a private conversation.
That's true. That's true.
So how about this? How about when we determine we have the time, which I would recommend should be soon, since who knows whether we've somehow been observed finding this place. I go back to the university, get what I have, and if we need something more advanced, then maybe take the risk of using the phone.
Well, I think mine was a reconnaissance mission to see if it goes anywhere. I'm not sure that it does. It goes deeper into the mountain as a river, an underwater river. It's a death trap. Even if you've got the equipment, if you get caught in that waterfall current, you're doomed.
But then isn't this the mountain that those diaries said?
Well, maybe there's another entrance. We've only been
at least we know we found some place, some point of access. You're right. Maybe there's another access near here that is less hazardous.
Well, we think there's one up high, but we just didn't have the equipment for that. We can get mountaineering gear quicker than we could get diving gear.
I'm just wondering which entrance is most closely watched by whatever's in there.
I doubt that I'm not sure this is a way in, but if it is, it's not a very practical one for those things unless I can breathe underwater.
Well, we don't know if they need to breathe at all, but we certainly haven't seen any swimming, and we have seen them flying.
Yeah. So that would be likely the flying one up there. The flying entrance.
Well, that was part of why this seemed so appealing. That and when I saw it, I just
wait a second.
Had the sense of fortune.
Wait a second. We're here because somebody kept talking about caves, right? That there were caves in this hill. Well, somehow I don't think they were talking about this one or that one. There must be some other caves in this hill.
Must be caves that people
people go into or can go into.
Say that again, Jasper.
There must be caves that people routinely encounter without
having
to dive into rivers or climb massive cliffs, unless they just see them from a distance, which could be why the folklore sprung up around them.
Maybe we should take a hike over in that direction and then turn around and look and see if we can see any holes in the mountain that we don't know, that we didn't see.
Let's go. Now that we've found this, I'm not that eager to just head back into town and talk to farmers.
Well, let me put my clothes back on. So I try to shake off most of the water.
Okay. So say that again. So you're basically going to now fan out again and start looking back along the mountains?
I think we're gonna walk away from the mountain and then turn around and look back and see if we see any.
Try and find some sort of good vantage point if we can.
I think the downside to this idea is that you're in a wooded area. So the further back you go away, the deeper into the woods to block your vision of the mountains.
Well, it would have to be if they saw caves. I don't know. Maybe we can go bribe somebody in town to bring us to where these caves are. They
say that they've gone into caves or even seen caves, or just that according to the accounts, there are things in caves. That is a significant difference.
I don't know. seems like if they talk about caves, that people have seen caves, it would make more sense.
Was it not in those
Normally.
memoirs?
Go ahead.
I think there was a reference to that, Jeff, in the memoirs, the books of the kind of old relatives.
Skimming that right now, actually. So if you guys want to,
I'm starting to think, what if this is all just a wild goose chase?
I've got, if you look at the thing that we saw at the top, Tug, the kind of crevice that could potentially lead into a cave. We've got this entryway, which could just be water, erosion, but it's too coincidental. I think there's something here.
Well, maybe. A cave in a mountain isn't that coincidental. It's like extremely common. But did anybody see which direction the bugs were flying when they left? Which way did they go? 'Cause if they're like bees, they would have gone right back to the hive. They wouldn't have gone off at an angle and then gone back to the hive. That could tell us at least the direction. I imagine this is the direction that they were heading, so maybe somewhere else.
I just skimmed the letter. There's no mention of caves.
So why do we think there are caves? Is there something else? Is there an old mine or a quarry or a...
You may have picked it up from the other people in town talking about it. It has been about 2 weeks since you were last talking to people. So somebody may have mentioned it somewhere, but it was not in that letter.
Now wasn't the one that was recovered, wasn't it near some kind of cave system, or perhaps Mr. Abelard's own account involved being near to mountainous caves?
Well, that was in the Himalayas. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes. I thought maybe we were expecting caves because the other accounts featured caves. I don't particularly recall townspeople specifying caves.
Okay. I think that the thing had said that they were mining stuff, or they were after something in the mountains.
Yeah, I think without getting too tied down here, it's certainly reasonable that you would assume there are some sort of cave system.
Right.
Right. These are creatures that are known to live, like you said, he captured those first creatures in a cave. They're well, let's just leave it at that.
Well, the cliff is where the
somewhere
body...
along the line, somebody suggested caves, and it seems logical.
Okay. We also found the body had been found at the bottom of the cliffs, so
right.
We assume that it fell, or it. Geez, he could have just been climbing up there.
Yep.
Jeff, while we're all talking about this, I'm feeling a little paranoid that we're standing around this place that may or may not be of significance, just talking, looking like we have found something. I just take a quick look around, like maybe listen, spot hidden. I just wonder if maybe there's anything paying attention to us that I could pick up on.
Spot hidden.
And are we then heading back into town to do some more investigation?
Apparently not.
Okay.
Are we going to go back into town to do more investigation, ask some questions?
Yeah, I'll leave it up to you guys. I'll just say this, I guess, just to wrap things up here. We'll say that you spend another half hour, 45 minutes spreading out, trying to look for other openings, and nothing really comes of your labor. So,
okay.
Am I confident that I'd be able to find this place again?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you know where the mound is. You've been here a couple times now.
Yeah.
We have that other, is it the farmer to visit? What was
Yes,
that guy's
it's
name?
Kuzra, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Alexander Kuzra.
Alexandu? Alexandu? I don't know why it's spelled that way. Whatever. All right.
Okay, so do you guys want to grab lunch first, or are you just going to head talk to him? Or
Did we bring packed lunches with us?
pack
Yeah.
lunches?
Yeah.
You can eat
So
it on the
we'll
way.
eat in the truck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or
All right. So I'll say that the Miss Cratchit gave you rough directions to this farmer's house. Go down to the split in the road, turn left at the old oak tree, and rough directions, but you pretty much are able to find it from, if you drove back to her house, you could follow her directions to get to the house. And it's really not that far. It's not that far away from where you guys are right now. Maybe a couple miles, 3 or 4 miles. You get to a long dirt road that she described. There's a little old rusty mailbox on the roadside there, and it's got his last name on it, so you know you're at the right place. What are you going to do? You want to drive down the dirt road, the driveway? It's pretty long.
well, this guy didn't seem very sinister. I don't know why not.
Okay. All right, so you start driving down the dirt road. At this point, we'll just say 1:30 in the afternoon. By the time you ate and got cleaned up, and so sun's out. It's a nice day. You're heading down the road. The dust's getting kicked up by the car or the truck, and you get to the house. It's a little bit run down. It's not all that fancy, certainly at all. It's basically a working farmer's house. There's a barn back just behind it. A few chickens running around loose. The yard, or I guess the side yard, has like a split rail fence around it. It looks like there's probably cows in the pasture, but there's no sign of Mr. Kozra.
Is there a
First,
vehicle of any kind, did you say?
Yeah, there's probably an old pickup truck parked on the side of the house.
You just listen to see if we hear any activity.
Okay. No activity. Nothing. Seems pretty quiet.
Well, why don't we just go and knock on the door?
Yeah.
I mean,
You're getting out of the truck. Danny, do a spot hidden.
Pass.
Okay. This is not really anything that's necessarily hidden. I just wanted to see how soon you noticed it. You guys are getting out of the car. You're stretching. Had a exhaustive morning of climbing and swimming. And Danny kind of like glance up at the house, and right on the front door, big as anything, big, 2 feet maybe width, 3 feet tall maybe, big wooden cross nailed onto the door.
Oh. Kind of almost like a statement, like a church would have a cross outside, like that kind of thing.
Certainly a statement. Certainly, this is not just a little decoration that somebody is like, it's like, this is big. This is unmistakable. This is like in your face almost.
it's like he's afraid of vampires or something.
Or bat people.
Okay, you're approaching the door to knock, right, Tug?
Yeah.
As you come up onto the porch there, a little rickety wooden porch, certainly not that big. There's something else you notice. There's 2 things actually. The first thing is when you get to the steps to go up, from the roof of the porch, hanging down from the rafters, are these strings and small pieces of rope, and they're all tied, all these little knots tied up on the strings.
Just little knots.
Little
One
knots
after the other.
going down. Yep. The other thing you notice, and again, not like this is not hidden. This is not like you need a spot hidden. But you notice in the windows all along the first floor, there are little purple flowers in like a small glass of water.
Okay. I know what this is, but do I know what this is?
You would definitely need folklore and or occult.
It's pretty common
Do
folklore.
you point it out to us, Doug? Since he said you're the only one who sees it.
I got a 9.
Yeah.
I'm like, I point at the little ropes with the strings, and I poke at the. I say he's afraid of vampires.
Does he think they'll have to stop and untie it?
No, well, yes, possibly, or at least count all of the knots. And I believe that's Wolfbane.
Well, if that's true, Tug, maybe we should approach him a bit different than some of the people and approach the kind of supernatural creatures.
Well, yeah, possibly. Of course, he's not going to think we're vampires because we're here on the porch.
Any daylight.
So I knock on the door.
Okay.
Hello?
Same old, just checking in, Jasper. You got Rex nearby.
Yes, I was just about to say. I hope he doesn't dislike dogs.
Okay.
I think dogs traditionally absolutely hate vampires. So.
Is that true?
I don't know.
And Lug says yes.
Or maybe white dogs.
But then Lug hates everything.
Horses despise. Horses hate vampires too.
God.
But no,
there's
but
so
no
much
Gala.
hatred in the world, isn't there? Why can't we all just live peacefully together?
Yeah.
Humans, vampires, and horses side by side.
So I knock on the door.
Again, second time.
Yeah.
Hello,
Mr. Kozra.
At this point, you hear some sort of movement from inside the house, and you hear, sounds kind of nasty, you hear what sounds like this old man is coughing up a lung.
I'm going to try the door. Is it open?
Sure, yeah.
All right. I'm going to open it up. Mr. Kozra, are you okay?
You don't see him, but he heard you, and he yells back, "Who is that? Get off my property!"
It's okay. We're not dangerous. We're students from Miskatonic University. You can rest assured.
Every burglar ever.
Yeah, you can rest assured we're not vampires.
Tell him we're investigating the vampires.
I say, my name is Tug Thompson.
He comes around the corner and he's got a cigarette dangling out of his mouth, and he looks older than he is, although technically you wouldn't know that, but
yeah.
Typical farmer attire. He's kind of got the blue jean overalls with the suspenders, and he's got a flannel shirt on. It's starting to get cooler in the September days. Comes around. He's grizzled looking. He's got dark hair, frizzy and unkempt, and he's just kind of looking at you like he's got a little bit of a wild look in his eye.
Okay.
Does he look like a werewolf?
No, not really.
Well, then we're fine because it's not a full moon.
His eyebrows don't meet in the middle then.
Well, you've caught him off guard. You know, you opened the door, and did you go in at all, Tug? Did you
yeah, I took a step or two inside to show them that I can cross the threshold without.
Yep. So he gets a look at you guys all just standing there, and he's like, "What are you doing? Were you just walking into my house?"
Well, we're sorry to disturb you, Mr. Kozra, but you seem to be one of the more well-informed people in this community, considering some of its more peculiar features. And as my friend here said, we're students of folklore and deeper things, and we'd hope to learn what you know.
We've been speaking to Mrs. Cratchit down the road. we knew her husband mildly, and we're sort of investigating what happened to him. And she told us that you and him were friends. You told him lots of stories. We're folklorists. We collect a lot of stories. We were wondering if you would share some of them with us.
You are saying some of the right things that he wants to hear. So there's a certain element of, he's pausing long enough to hear you out. He's kind of looking in his living room, like off to the side a little bit as you're talking, like he keeps glancing over and he's looking at you, and then he glances like he's listening to what you're saying. I'm going to ask you to make a roll anyway. I'm curious what you think you would get. So why don't all of you roll whatever your best skill is for, whether it be fast talk or persuade.
Is charm acceptable?
Yeah, that's fine too. I just want to get a
fast talk.
Jasper.
96.
Ooh, Jasper.
I talk so fast that he can't understand me.
Can I spend 3 points of luck?
Yeah. I'd like to spend 4.
So that means you each got to fail?
Could I spend
33 points?
Yeah, I failed by 4 points. So,
Okay.
Is it acceptable to spend?
Let me hear what Danny got.
I failed.
Oh, boy. Well, it all sounded good in your head anyway.
The only thing I passed was my sanity.
Well, if what we said sounded good to you, can we get a bonus die because we actually said the right things?
He'll tell us what we're going to do.
Here's what I'll do. If you guys are willing to spend, Tug and Jerry, if you're willing to spend your points of luck just to get you to that pass,
yeah,
I'll let you go with that.
All right.
Okay.
I want to do that.
Yes, I spend 4 points.
I show my hands. No pentagrams or anything on them.
Okay.
I'm not a werewolf either.
No hairy palms.
Well, I might have that because of other reasons.
He's still very much on edge. Okay. There's that certainly wasn't the best of roles. So you're going to have to be careful. That's all I'm just going to say. I'm warning you. So he's paused. He's kind of like, so what do you want?
Just to talk, just to hear some of your stories. We're trying to piece together some very strange stuff that's going on.
Is that dog going to bite me?
Not Rags.
Oh no, he's a good boy.
Danny says, we hear there's some strange things in their parts, in these mountains.
He's not from around here.
By the way, just because I'm bad at doing accents, it's certainly no secret that he's got a heavy accent. If anybody wants to do a knowledge roll, I might be able to give you more information on that.
Yeah, what kind of knowledge roll?
Extreme.
18? That'll work.
But, sorry, what's the knowledge roll? Is that just straight intelligence?
98.
98.
Education.
98. I'm able to tell that he's from somewhere in America.
You're just getting all your bad rolls out at the beginning. Right?
I got a 0 so that's a extreme success on the education check.
Okay, perfect. So those that passed, you pick up that it's probably. See, now I'm getting caught off guard. Middle Eastern.
What'd you say?
Hold on.
Middle Eastern.
I'm going to ask Mick in chat.
I'm going to make up something really ridiculous.
Making me sound even more like an idiot.
Hindi Egyptian.
He's got an accent. Sounds kind of like he's from Idaho.
Well, if that's the case, I don't give them their parts and all that. I try and speak clearly.
Yeah, no, it was a good idea, though. It still might work.
But I'm going to have
Appalachian, you wouldn't understand.
I mean, there's so much superstition here. Danny's definitely going to say, there's strange going on, strange going ons.
Okay. You get an accent. It sounds like he's somewhere between Mexico and China.
With a 08?
Jasper's thick.
Good. Eastern European. I was going to say that, but I can't.
Slav.
Middle Eastern that I meant.
Slavian.
So yeah, he's definitely got that foreign accent.
So he sounds like Dracula when he talks. Yes.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
The children of the night.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a horrible bloody noise they make. He was Hungarian, though.
Yeah.
Bela Lugosi.
So with a 08, what I can tell is that he's from somewhere in Eastern Europe.
Yeah, that's
Is that
somewhere near Bulgaria.
so? And as well informed as you clearly are, considering the strange character of the local area. Well, the story of how you came to reside here from Eastern Europe must be a story in itself.
He looks to Danny and he says, he kind of nods his head. This one talks funny.
Well, I'm not from around here either. I'm from Cairo, Illinois. It's right in the Midwest of the country.
Illinois, okay.
Mr.
Southern Illinois.
Southern, there's a difference.
Mr. Kosra, we came here a number of weeks ago simply as folklore students, and since then we have seen so many very strange things. We've seen little animals living in the woods that we can't explain. We've seen things that look like demons living in basements. We've seen giant insect things in the
when you say that, he drags the heel of his shoe across the ground. I mean, you're indoors. He drags the heel of his shoe across the ground, makes like a circle on the floor with his boot, and he spits in it. And he just looks at you like, go on.
Can we?
Danny spits in it.
That's about.
I'm gonna back away from it.
Do I even need to make an occult roll to know what that's about, Jeff, or is it pretty obvious what it's about?
I'll leave that up to you. What you think your character?
Well,
like Tug knew the.
Yeah, I think I know.
Okay.
We think that people have disappeared, people have murdered, something's wrong with the children in the town, and we're trying to get to the bottom of it.
And not to mention that, in the basement Tug mentioned, weeks after the things we saw, there's inverted occult signs painted on the wall. So obviously someone else hereabouts knows something about what's going on and wants to either encourage it or profit from it or both.
I certainly have reason to believe that you're on the side of good, and I look at the cross on the door and I say, we are too. But we don't have any answers. We want to know where to go, what to do about this, how to stop whatever's going on here.
Tug, I'm going to give you. This is going to happen very quickly, so try to give me an answer as soon as you can without really pondering it. Just as you finish speaking to him like that, he starts to walk right up close to you, like right up into your personal space. Okay. And he starts to reach his hands up like this.
Okay. I'm not going to I'm just going to stand still.
Okay. He rather gruffly puts one hand on your shoulder, puts his other hand on the side of your head, and kind of like moves your head, and then he looks at your neck. And then he, checks it out, and he moves to whoever's standing in line next. I'll say, Jerry, you've been talking to him, and Danny. And eventually he ends up going to Jasper, although he's little more gentle with Jasper because he's afraid of that dog sitting right next to him.
What were you looking for?
Just checking.
For vampire bats?
We wouldn't have been able to get in the door.
He says something in a language that you don't know, and he makes a sign in the air at you.
Okay.
Pardon my poor pronunciation. I'm sure you have more accurate terms for such things, but I know a bit of the relevant law. And as far as I know, we haven't been victimized by, well, at least not by that.
We were attacked by flying creatures, but they weren't vampires.
But I think that we have encountered some of the vampire stuff going on here because of the sheriff's daughter, was it? Or sister?
Sister, yeah.
Sister.
The sheriff's sister. We know about that.
Perhaps the most extraordinary thing, in my opinion, is that, as far as I can recall, literally every monstrous thing we've seen here that we've shot with standard bullets seems to be injured by them. So that is astonishing, but accurate. And they are, well, the demonic things were the most recognizable of the lot of them. You must have seen some very strange things here yourself.
He's starting to rock, kind of like a nervous rock, twitchy almost. He's still listening intently to what you're saying, but he's like,
We need your help, sir. We need your help.
to do what?
To have the
Well,
right
first of all, to know what's
information
going on.
to fight what's going on here.
You want to fight? You want to fight these things? You're going to lose.
We want to know what they are, where they are. They've already attacked us once. The giant bug things.
He's mumbling some words under his breath. Tug, can you do a lesson roll?
Mm-hmm. 29. What's my listen? 20. Can I spend 9 points of luck?
Let's let Danny and
All right.
Jerry roll.
I'm sorry, what did you want us to roll?
Roll
Listen.
a listen, but I'm going to ask you for the next level of hard difficulty. So
Yeah, I made it. Yeah.
Did you get a hard?
Yes, I got a hard.
Okay. You hear he's mumbling words under his breath. You hear the word Striga and Mori.
I'm reasonably confident Jerry should know what those are.
Okay. I won't make you roll in. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't mean I'm going to interrupt him.
Okay. Jasper, you're kind of quiet. Could you do a psychology roll?
Okay. It's not going to go well because my psychology is very low. 45 out of 10.
Okay.
I think he's mad.
Yeah, that's a reasonable
He
judgment.
looks mad. He sounds mad. He's foreign.
If it quacks like a duck, it walks like a duck.
It's 1930. I mean, he's not American. So
I think while Tug's speaking as well, I'm kind of scanning around the room to see if there's anything on the shelves or whatever that could just help make a connection with the guy, you know.
It's rather messy.
Mm-hmm.
At almost every, well, in the living room, there's like the one chair that's set up, and next to it, there's like 3 ashtrays. Lots of cigarette butts just laying around. He's certainly not a housekeeper. He doesn't keep the house very clean. You did notice the flowers in the windowsill. But other than that, nothing else necessarily jumps out at you.
Is he still speaking in his foreign tongue and rocking back and forth?
Yeah, it's just a mutter. And then, so he's like, Tug, well, what do you... I'm still not sure what you want me to do.
Tell us some stories. We want to know. I say, was it Esmeralda Cratchit?
You're very, very close. Let me see if I can just find it real quick. I can't say it. Imelda. Emelda.
Imelda. Imelda Cratchit. I'll tell you the whole story. Imelda Cratchit told us that she believed her husband was killed because he got too close to finding something, and that he was inspired by some of the stories you told. Now we have gotten involved in this. Some of the students that were involved in it this year, we have reason to believe they were taken over by some of those bug creatures. And we stopped them. They were at the university that we stopped them from doing what they were doing. We came back here.
His eyebrows raised at like learning that you stopped them. Like he's impressed.
We came back here because we believe that they're here somewhere, and we want to continue to find out what they are and find a way to stop them. And we're willing to risk our lives to at least stop them, because we think that what they're doing is evil.
And we already have risked our lives, that is, and
we were attacked last night.
And quite frankly, we don't know who else here can be trusted to share everything with, and will tell us what they know of what is going on. It seems that just about anyone could be under their thrall, whatever they are, demons or worse.
I look him square in the eyes and I say, and we're obviously brave, perhaps foolhardy, but...
You beat him to the punchline.
So we were hoping you could help us overcome at least some of the fool part. Hopefully leaving some of the hardy.
Knowledge is power.
He walks into his living room / parlor there. It's pretty sparse. But there's like a bench there, a wooden bench, and he just pushes everything that's on the bench off onto the floor, and he says, sit down.
All right, so we sit.
You understand that if I tell you anything, well, I don't know, maybe it's too late already. Yeah, I miss my friend, my buddy Jethro. I miss seeing him come around anymore, and we used to hang out and talk and trade stories, and I miss that. And he gets a little distracted, is looking off. He says, but you know, if you guys, you got to be careful. You can't just be walking around up to people and start just blab out everything you know to them. I mean, these things have gotten people killed. You're talking to the wrong people. That's what I think happened to Jethro. I think he just got messed up with the wrong people. Those college students, and he looks all at you like you, and you. You know, I think they just blabbed it too much, and I think it might have cost Jethro his life.
Well, believe it or not, we've been really careful up until now. I can see that you're a trustworthy man, and once again, I look back towards the door where his cross is. I say we haven't encountered that in the town. We've kept our mouths shut.
We're also not here to collect stories, mistake them for local folklore, and go try to publish them in some pointless university book. We're here because we really want to know what's happening, and we are quite determined to survive it, if possible. But as Doug said, we're willing to risk ourselves, if necessary.
I'd also like to know, if possible, who do you trust in the town? Who do you think is safe? None of them?
Jethro.
Jethro.
Maybe his wife, but she doesn't come around here anymore. Well, all right, so he looks like he's fighting internally with the voices in his head about how much to reveal with you guys, to you guys. But he says, you probably know a lot of this already. It's the woods, right? The woods are dangerous.
Yes.
Evil spirits in these woods. If you go tramping around, going where you're not sure where you're going, it'll be the end of you.
I'm just going to sit there nodding.
Nodding off.
No, well, nodding at him. I'm not sure whether he likes when he's being a bit funny with my dog. So I'm being a bit funny with him.
Okay. So like nodding in agreement.
Yes.
We can confirm that. There was a young woman, mentally slow, who wandered off into the woods. We actually found her. She'd been tied up by a couple of demons in a basement, and Well, we
don't know that they're what tied her.
Whatever. I'm just telling you the story as we've seen it, and we freed her and brought her back, and ended up killing, or at least fighting off, 2 of those demon things, whatever they were.
You notice that every time you say the word demons, he kind of like cringes and grabs his shirt.
Yeah.
He says, it's just, I don't doubt you. I don't think, people call me crazy. People call me mad. You guys are some of the first guys I've met around here, besides Jethro, who are speaking my language.
Well, 2 weeks ago, we would have thought that as well, but we've seen things now. Now, we need to know what's there so that we don't get killed.
So at this point, Jerry, he says the 2 words out loud, and he just says to everybody. What did I say? Striga and
Maury.
And he looks at you like waiting for that to like what it already means.
I nod.
I don't know what a Maury is.
He looks to you, Jared. You want to tell him?
You're speaking of dark fates, things that bring death. I know the Striga, or I know what it means. I don't know any personally, or maybe I do, but, well, the things we've seen, only the ones with horns reminded us of any lore I know. One of the things I saw, I wouldn't be able to describe it, and I wish I didn't remember it. These bugs, well, they fly like some of the things you mentioned, but they do a lot more than just fly.
So he sees the confusion on Tug's face, and he says, Striga are witches, and Maury are vampires.
Oh, okay.
Both of which are children of the devil himself. And he looks around, like, over his shoulder, like, make sure nobody's listening.
Why are they here? Do they have? Did someone conjure them? Does some witch cult flourish in this place?
Yes. And I've been fighting with him since I moved here, really. I think it's going on 11 years now.
Is Agnes Bellwether one of them?
No, she's just a nice old lady.
Do you know who any of them are?
He's pausing. Like he's not sure he wants to tell you. He's afraid himself who to trust.
I think Danny would maybe, to try and coax him a bit, tell him about the children's rhyme or song and how some of the children are obviously under the influence of this thing.
So he says, well, speaking of the children, that's maybe one of the creepiest things about this whole thing. Approximately once a month in those woods out there behind my farm field there, I hear them laughing and screaming. It's just a god-awful sound. I don't know what they're doing.
What time of the month is it?
It's usually around the same time of month. Usually around the when the moon don't shine.
The dark of the moon.
Well, that certainly figures.
And about 2 years ago, I believe the devil himself came here and killed 2 of my cows. I've seen his hoof prints out there.
Hoof prints?
Out in the mud.
Well, those things with horns in the basement that we shot, they had hooves.
And he looks at you like with one eye open, one half closed. And he says, in the basement.
Where they had that girl tied up. I was assuming that it's the cultist that tied her. Probably some kind of sacrificial offering, I suppose.
How big were they?
I show him about how big they were.
I beat the shit out of one of them.
I shot their brains out.
Actually, yeah.
He just shakes his head. He's like, I pray to the good Lord you don't run into what I seen. And he holds his hands up. And I'm looking at my screen. My hands can't go wide enough, so he holds his hands out like this. He says, these are about the size of the hoof prints I saw.
Wow.
My God.
Well, how big would something have to be to make?
It'd be monstrous.
I think we're all standing with our mouths a little bit open. Did you see it, the creature?
It's not the only orifice that's open at the moment, I can tell you that.
Never seen him. Heard him. God awful.
More than one?
Yeah, I think I would say yeah.
What did it sound like?
It's just a horrible bellowing. Like, imagine if you lined up about 5 cows and just sat there and tortured them all at the same time. Kind of it sounds like that, screaming, yelling, howling.
God.
When did this happen?
It was about 2 years ago. I lost a lot of money with that. I have 1 cow out there now, and so far so good, but I'm worried.
It's kind of unusual, Jeff, but could I do a Cthulhu Mythos roll to see if ever I've run into anything that might give me a hint?
Okay.
Okay.
So, all right, wait, before you roll, could I ask, is there anything specific you're looking for, or you're just looking for an impression?
I think, well, outside of the game, I'm pretty sure I can guess. But
Okay.
inside the game, the most that I would get was some reference in a book at Miskatonic during one of my classes to maybe a giant goat or some reference to a goat.
Okay. Go ahead.
I got an 04.
Wow. Okay.
That was just pure luck, but I can show it to you just to make sure you
I believe you.
it's all gonna fall off of
The last second. Yeah. So
so
how do you?
I'm like something about a goat in the woods.
Well, that sounds like Pan.
Oh, the Jersey Devil. Didn't that have the head of a
No,
goat?
this is some sort of dark nature spirit, I think. But I can't remember. It's something I
Still
read back in
sounds like Pan.
maybe.
Do you mean the goat of Mendes? The devil himself?
Maybe.
Wrong film.
Doug, I'm gonna say I'm gonna be a little bit harsher on you. I'm gonna say that Cthulhu Mythos, it was successful, but I'm gonna say that took something out of you. So for that, yeah, I'm gonna say a sanity roll. You know what? I'm not even gonna let you roll. I'm just gonna say 2-point sanity loss. And it's sort of like, he's talking, you're thinking about it, and you're thinking about, well, where did I see this before? And it sounds familiar. So in that split moment, you kind of like have this vision. So it's not so much more of like how you're describing it, like you read it in a book somewhere. It's more like an actual vision that comes into your consciousness.
Some nightmarish sort of thing that
Yeah.
also the very fact that something I read back in university, now he's talking about it like it's real.
Yeah.
And all the shit we've seen, yeah, I can see that. 2 points of sanity. See?
I'm taking a point as well. I rolled sanity there because the whole thing has just now arrived, and obviously we've been attacked by creatures and all that. But he's really describing something even more sinister happening in his backyard, almost.
Mm-hmm.
So
Have you ever?
and now he's describing something that's massive.
Like some horrible rotting onion where every layer is worse than the last.
Have you ever seen any of the witches themselves, Mr. Kuzra?
Nope. Can't say I've ever seen him. I just hear him.
Aside from the
Just so you know, maybe you guys are braver than I am. But I don't want anything to do with them. When I hear stuff like that going on, I lock all the doors, I lock the windows, I get on my hands and knees, and I start praying. And
What about your folks? I mean, have there always been tales of this sort of thing going on around here, or is there a time when it started?
Did you say my folks? Did you?
Yeah, I mean, did his folks tell stories of things like this, or was there a time when he remembers it sort of starting?
So just to be clear, he's probably from Eastern European.
Right.
So his folks would have also been from. So his folks actually didn't come over with him. Any stories?
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to see whether he's putting it in the context of his folklore,
Okay,
or whether it's something he's encountered over here.
okay, gotcha.
I didn't phrase that very well. Sorry.
Yeah, I see where you're going now. So he will. Yeah, it's very much an issue of growing up. He was told folklore stories, and then when he arrived here and he witnessed it firsthand, he's not going to go to the library and look this stuff up, right? So he's going to relay it to what he was been told as a child,
Right,
and put it in those terms. He's read the Bible. He's putting it in terms that he understands. So I
just don't see why you'd stay here if all that's going on. I mean,
well, because you can't escape the devil. He's everywhere, so running away wouldn't make any difference. hiding in your house behind a cross.
But you did say, Mister, because of that it's something about the woods in the area. What brought you here to begin with?
Well, I'm a farmer, and I arrived in New York City, and after a couple rough years there, I heard people talking about Cobb's Corner and how it was pretty much the cornucopia. That, you know, it's people do well when they farm here. So when I heard that, that's why I came here. And it's
And
good.
do you reckon that the witches have some kind of pact for fertility of the land or something like that?
The only thing I can guess. I try not to ask too many questions. I don't really want to know.
Know that we're still young men. So we're a little less willing to sit back and let the witches and the vampires and the bug creatures and the demons take over the neighborhoods. So we want to try and stop them. Maybe we'll fail, but we have to try.
Well,
Why did you look at our necks? Would you tell us that?
I don't know who you are. You come in out of nowhere. You start laying all these weird stories on me, and I don't know who to trust. I don't trust anybody. I wanted to see if you were marked in some way.
If
Marked?
I'm sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
You know, maybe like if you were bit or had teeth marks or had some sort of witch's mark on your neck, or
What sort of mark? I mean, you were looking for vampire marks?
vampires or witches.
Okay.
Strigo Mori.
Okay.
Would you consider the inverted star to be the mark of a striga? If you found it painted somewhere, perhaps?
He's going to say no to that.
Hmm.
I don't know what that means.
It is rather esoteric, especially within the circle as we saw it. I was shocked. Well, the only thing that shocked me more than the horrifying things we saw could be shot dead with bullets is that whatever cult flourishes in this town is disturbingly well informed about diabolical things. I have no doubt of the literalness of your description of them being able to summon something quite horrifying. Have you ever heard anything else strange other than their cackling monthly?
Nothing. No, not really. I mean, I think I shared with you. Well, he's pausing and hesitating, and then he looks like he's getting ready to tell you something. Then he just shakes his head.
Please, Mr. Kozra. Anything you can tell us that can warn us or keep us safe from something that's out there.
Well, how badly do you want this? You want to know?
Absolutely.
Yes, we do.
Well, I can tell you, if you go to the back of my farmland, in the back corner, northeast corner, backs up along those woods lines. There's a small, it's not even really a path, but you probably will be able to see it okay. It's almost like a deer trail. It's just a skinny little footpath. You follow that for about maybe 10 minutes, not that far. You'll come to what I believe is unholy ground. If you want to check that out, I'm not going to stop you, but I'm going to seriously caution you against it.
Do you think that's where they hold their ceremonies?
That's where I hear most of the sounds coming from.
Well, being college students and not being prepared for any of this when we got here, is there anything you could lend us for the time being to give us some protection when we get there?
Got your crosses?
Unfortunately, no.
He just shakes his head.
He's like dodos.
So, these sounds you hear, do you hear voices, like a sort of buzzing voice?
Sometimes. Really makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up when you hear that.
Yeah, like a kind of weird buzzing, like almost like a machine talking.
Mm-hmm.
And is that the same?
Wish he hadn't.
The same time of the month, at the dark of the moon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
What time of the month is it now in terms of phase of the moon? Given that we did spend last night mainly looking up at the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, last night when you were looking up, there was just a little sliver of moon sticking out.
Right. We're almost at the dark of the moon.
Oh, bugger.
Let's get the weapons,
Could we
boys.
come back in a fortnight, maybe? Have a look at it then. What time of day is it now, by the way?
I'll say it's mid-afternoon, 3:30.
Well, we
I'm
could
just
probably
saying,
walk
I've
out to
been
that part of his property in 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, he said 10 minutes down the footpath, so I'd rather have a look at it now in daylight. Oh, pardon me.
Yeah, let's
Well,
go for a hike.
Well, Mr. Kuzra, thank you for trusting us with what you know, and you're a brave man yourself to remain living here for over a decade with this happening every month, nigh onto your backyard. But clearly, you are a man of strong faith and strong conviction.
I shake his hand in a very friendly manner, with both hands. And I say, is there anything that we can bring you out here?
Me? No. I'm a simple man. I'm happy here by myself. He says, hold on one second. And he walks into the back, probably the kitchen. And he comes back and he's holding out a cross. He says, I only have one. I mean, which is not true. You can see there's like crosses all around. But it's like he only has one that he's willing to give away.
He's going to spare.
I could spare a grenade.
Sorry, what was that, Dan?
I could spare a grenade for him if he wants one.
I'll take the cross.
Okay.
I don't want to hand it to Jerry because he might burst into flames.
He'll turn into
Or
a bottle of
Danny, for that
peaches.
matter, with his spewing magic out of his mouth.
It was just a bad smoker's cough.
Do me a favor, Tom. Mark it on your sheet, too.
Oh, okay.
All right. So
What did that look like, Jeff? Is it just like a wooden cross, or?
Yeah, really, really simple and, crude looking.
All right.
He shakes your hand. He kind of like, it's probably the last time I'm going to see you guys. So be careful. Good luck.
Don't let any strangers into your house.
Don't take any wooden nickels.
Do they ever have wooden nickels?
Yeah, those wooden Indians. Don't take any wooden Indians.
So, just to confirm that direction, and we'll head out in that direction. If that's okay. I'd say that's probably the most, as we're leaving, I'm saying to the other guys, I think that's the most information we've got out of anybody so far.
And at least we've found a site where stuff's going on. The Migo are obviously coming here.
I think that we've got something to try to research. I've got to try to find any passage referring to goat.
Well, there must be any number of descriptions of the Sabbat feature in a goat.
It's different. It's not just like the whole. What's the horned god? Well,
Pan.
you said Pan. But
the other one.
Baphomet.
Well, that is a most esoteric reference and can be interpreted in quite a number of different ways.
I'm just checking. You guys did leave his house, right?
Yeah, we're walking back.
I just want to make sure you're not having this devil worship talk in front of him.
To me, why would some alien race be involved in the primitive superstitions of a witch cult to begin with? Unless they're using it for... Well, unless they've been here for most of our history already, in which case...
Well, we might be rats in a maze for those things, and they make up religions for us to follow and see what we do. Maybe that's what they are. They're scientists from another planet.
Well, some of the greatest occultists of our age have insisted that the secret masters are physical living men. They didn't really clarify, apparently, what they meant by men. But
fun guys.
Yes, very entertaining. I am afraid I may be beginning to see the joke.
If we find the path, I think that we should be very stealthy in case there's something there. Don't you guys?
Well, let's also try not to disturb the ground too much and look like someone has been searching the place.
The thing is, if we know that the Migo probably come here, this could be the ideal place to capture them, for one. So we could come back with nets and traps and stuff.
So what were you saying?
Hey, Jeff, I just failed a sanity check myself, and I'm assuming I lost 2 sanity points, considering the implications of Tug's suggestion that all of the lore is basically aliens experimenting on us. 2 points for that, I think.
Danny, Jasper, and Tug, let's just have a sanity roll after all of that interaction.
Okay.
Fail.
Pass.
I have failed with an 88.
Oof.
Because
take one for pass.
Not to pass any dice rolls tonight.
Wow.
How
Let's
much
just
for
do
those?
1d4.
1d4. Don't even have to look at this to know it's going to be a 4.
Just write it down. 4.
4. See? Knew it.
That's because Rex is probably like, I ain't going that direction. Nope. Sasquatch lives in that direction.
Jeff, how is Sam taking all this? Is he just stoically walking along like, I just watched their back, or like?
Pretty much. He's been briefed. He's seen things himself back at headquarters. He was aware of the testing that they were doing. So he's aware of a lot of this, but also a lot of this is now first-hand knowledge to him. So there is a certain amount of, you can see he's doing his best to look stoic, you know.
So you were expecting bug men, fungi, maybe fish people. What about ancient pagan goat gods?
Giant goat.
You ever hear Mr. Abelard talk about that too? Or witches?
He's just like kind of shaking his head like, I never in my entire life heard stories like that before. And I mean, I'm trying to give the old man the benefit of the doubt. I mean, it looks like you all believe him, judging by your reaction.
About what? The bugs?
Well, about the whole story. I mean, you guys look like you just seen a ghost.
Well, apparently the things we've seen are
You've seen a goat.
much less probable than...
That's what we don't want to see.
Please tell us when we went out into his backyard to follow the trail, there was a goat standing out there looking at us.
Absolutely.
And it bleated.
Giving you that
I'll
little
just
eye.
say,
Like,
if I see any great big hoof
Was it a
prints,
black goat?
I'm off.
Philip. His name is Philip, I believe.
Yeah.
All right. So do we get to the...
You get to the back. You make your way through his field. It's rough going. It's an old cow pasture, so it's kind of like muddy and torn up and cow prints. So it's kind of rough hiking through it, tall grass. So eventually you get across this big long field. You get out to the back, and it's like you're kind of like aware of the fact that it's both beautiful out here. It's Vermont, early fall. The leaves are just starting to turn colors, and yet, you're surrounded by this visual beauty, but at the same time, there's something going on here. You get to that back corner of the gate. Fence. You get to the back corner of the fence, and you can see what he's talking about. To call it a path is being kind, right? It's just like a little footpath, really.
Wait, you're saying we feel like something's wrong even before we go on the footpath?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, similar to like the mound that you just came from, where you didn't hear any birds, you didn't hear.
Okay.
So there's that unease. But yeah, you get to that point and you see what he's talking about with this sort of little path or trail. I assume you're gone, right? Any last chance to come around?
Yeah, no, we're going.
I want to set off, yeah.
Okay.
But I think we're being keen-eyed, making sure that there's not a bunch of satyrs dancing around in a circle up ahead of us.
Well, I'm probably, I certainly want to see what there is to see, but I also want to, on the path, to walk carefully, if possible.
Okay. So you're making your way through this path. It's like I said, you're kind of like walking through briar bushes. The bushes are getting in your way. It's kind of rough going. But eventually, I'm going to put it to a track roll. So why don't could all four of you give me a track roll?
Okay.
Oh, of course I did.
97 is pretty bad, right?
Ooh, okay.
I'm just going to stop rolling and just say fail whenever you ask. Where are they?
I'll start rolling.
Is it possible to push the track roll by being less concerned about stepping carefully? I mean, maybe I distracted myself with all this gingerness of cautious walking.
How about
maybe that's self-defeating. So can I push the roll and try again if I just stop obsessing about that level of care?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
All right.
Can I make a track roll for Rex?
If you fail though, Jerry, you're going to lead us into a death trap.
Can I spend 46 points of luck?
Oof.
I did fail, Jeff. I didn't crit fail, but I did fail the second time.
Got the push. All right. All right.
Got
hold that
86 for Rex as well, so I've failed that roll as well.
Oh my.
I'm not going to buy a lottery ticket today, I'll tell you that much.
So,
You might buy a farm, but
Technically, I'd have to spend 12 points of luck. Should I spend?
I'm not going to put you to that. All
Can
right.
we just follow the path?
I don't know, can we?
Hope for the best.
I just realized, I was like,
Always the track roll to see where the path goes.
I'm good to, have Sam come in and save the day, right? So I just rolled. I just rolled as 00.
Wow.
That's a win for Sam.
Yeah.
Well, he said it was barely a path. So I'll say this. You guys kind of get lost.
Okay.
Jerry, you think
I'm sure it's this way.
Right. You think you are on the trail and you start heading off to the right. Jasper and Tug and Rex, you're kind of heading off to the left because you think you're on the trail. And Danny and Sam are kind of walking down the middle thinking they're on the trail.
What are you doing? That is just a space between two trees. That doesn't look, that's not even a path, let alone a trail.
Can we do a luck roll to see if we find it?
Well, so here's what I'll do. So I'm just going to have this count against your time. So it's a matter of you guys kind of fan out. You try to trace your steps backwards to pick up the trail again. And then it's just a matter of time until eventually you feel like you now are all on the right trail again. So it's now about maybe 4:30. You get to a certain point in the woods where it looks like there's a clearing up ahead of you. Not that big, maybe 20, 30 yards diameter. The sunlight's coming through the treetops pretty clearly. And as you approach, I'm not going to put it to a spot hidden because they're right there. You see a series of about 5 stones, 5 feet tall, maybe 2 feet, 2.5 feet around diameter. And in the middle of the 5 stones is another stone slab.
Do they look like they have anything on them from this distance? Carvings, smears, stains?
From this distance, it's hard to tell. You're going to have to go investigate.
Well, I go investigate. Does it feel weird here?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, does it feel weirder than it felt before? Is a better way of asking that.
No, about the same level of weirdness.
I want to get closer, see if it feels weirder, and see if I can get a better look.
5 stones with 1 in the center. Wouldn't that make your pentagram?
I reckon it would.
How is Rex reacting to this place?
You probably know what I'm talking about, or anybody who's had a German Shepherd. The hair on the back of his back is straight
hackles. His hackles, yeah.
Hackles. All that, that poofy, when they get all poofy on that.
Yes.
Does Luck get that being a short-haired dog?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All the way down his back. All the way down.
Jerry, you know more about this than any of us.
Well, I know that I wasn't expecting to see standing stones in Vermont. Of course, they could have been put up by descendants of some continental witch cult. But perhaps if these traditions have all been scripted by things from beyond Herschel, then, well, I suppose we shouldn't be too surprised to find anything similar just about anywhere, remote enough. How does it feel getting closer, Jeff? Is it weird?
Maybe it's your imagination, but it feels weird. Feels weirder.
Okay.
It feels like there's an electric.
Okay.
Buzz.
Is there anything on the rocks?
Does anyone else feel that?
What? Sheer terror? Yes, I feel that.
Haven't we had a new superstition for one day, 1 month even? No, the sense of, well, I don't want to suggest to you what it is. Doesn't the environment feel different somehow?
I look over at Jasper and Danny and I say, sheer terror? I think that's where I am right now.
Never mind.
Is there anything on the rocks?
Yeah, you're getting up close
Yeah.
now to investigate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jasper, Rex absolutely refuses to go near the stones.
I'm
have
going
like
to,
physical threat.
as a good dog owner, I'm going to take that as an indication that I should stay back with the dog.
Okay.
Yeah, at this point I'm with Tug. I'm only, mainly interested in, is there anything of visual significance on the stones? Carvings,
Okay.
weird stains, anything like that.
Danny's taking his gun out and he's checking out the middle stone, I think.
Okay, let's do that. Danny, you pick in the middle stone. Jerry, you're looking at the outside stones?
Whichever stone was closest to me first. I mean, I'm planning to check them all out, but I'd certainly start with the outside. I wouldn't go straight to the inside.
And Tug, what are you looking at? Just
one of the outside stones. I might actually go up and touch it just to make sure it's a rock.
All right.
Because I'm crazy. Why wouldn't I?
The stones are, I mean, it's kind of weird. They appear to be very old. I know that's a weird, meaning, they're not clean, right? They're weathered. They're rounded edges. They've been
How
here
big
for
are
a
they?
very long time.
How big?
They're about 5 feet tall,
Okay.
and roughly about 2.5 feet around.
So they're rounded?
Generally, the base is around it, and then as it goes up, it gets more just organic.
Okay.
There are definitely some strange symbols carved into them.
Well.
Danny, you see the slab of stone in the middle. There are definitely dark stains all over it.
Yeah, let the guys know.
Do we have anything we can copy down? We probably have some sort of notebook since we probably take notes when people tell us stories. Can we copy the symbols onto a piece of paper?
Okay, I'm gonna stop being such a nice GM.
Yeah.
Did anybody write down a notebook on their character sheet?
We are students.
Wallet, notebook, pencil.
Wait, do you mean the original character sheet or a specific list of what we took with us on this trip?
Yeah, like whatever you are.
It does say it right there on his. All right.
Yep.
That answers the question.
Turns out Tug had climbing equipment after all.
This
Jeff,
is, I think, the first time you all are realizing how
is there a chance of recognizing the symbols?
Okay.
Of course, I'll have to throw my notebook and pencil over to them because the dog won't let me go anywhere near it.
Jerry and Tug, since you're kind of standing there, tell me, I'm going to let you do one or the other. Do you want to do an occult roll or do you want to do a mythos roll?
I'll do an occult roll.
And I will also do an occult roll.
Okay.
29 out of 50.
I need to know the level. Is that a... Oh, wait, 29. So that's a regular.
And
It's a regular.
and I got a extreme success.
Okay.
11 out of 47.
All right, nice. So Tug, they kind of look familiar, but you can't really place it.
I've seen them in books. Maybe.
Yeah. But Jerry, it strikes your memory. You are convinced that these symbols relate to a fertility god.
It's a wiener and a...
Is it like words like in an alphabet, or are these just pictograms that have symbolic meaning?
Yeah, just symbolic pictograms.
Do they have any cultural origin?
No, not really. The only other thing I'll say to it in relation to that is that they also you could make an easy connection or tie to being related to agriculture.
Okay, are they carved right into the stone?
Yes.
Or
yeah.
Well, these are they're fairly simple pictographs. They don't spell anything out. They're all symbolic. This is seems to be what we expected. It's a fertility cult. And considering what Danny found on the central stone, I think it's fairly obvious how it's practiced.
Can I ask you, Jeff, in the centre stone, is it more like a table or just a big stone in the ground?
Yeah, it's kind of a table, like a flat, broad table. About 3 feet.
I'm going to root about underneath it in case anything's been discarded or left or dropped or anything like that.
Okay, yeah. So it is just a slab, so it's not like a table with legs. So yeah.
Right. Okay.
But you can still look around.
Yeah.
So I'm actually do a spot hidden.
Yes.
Is it a regular or a hard?
It is hard, at least.
Oh. Okay.
The extreme.
Oh, nice.
No, hard. Sorry, hard.
You're sort of like just standing there looking around. You think you're seeing little splatters here and there of the old stains. You know, it's like seeped into the dirt around you. And in the dirt, it almost looks like really faint footprints. Lots of them, and with the hard level of success, they're kind of small too.
So not adult, but human. Yeah, I tell the guys.
Well, it's no surprise that children would be involved in the cult from what we know. Jeff, I'm touching the outer stones before I go check out the center. Do they feel different than I'd expect a stone to feel? The temperature, the surface? Do things feel weirder when I touch them? Anything like that?
Does his hair stand on end?
Well, yeah, any physical reaction?
No, nothing really, except maybe they feel warm to the touch.
They feel a bit warm. I was thinking they'd be cooler. Okay, so I go look at the central thing. Is there any, I don't know, how much stains are there? Like, does it look like it's like in the same spot, caked with like layers and layers of what's probably blood, or is it just a spatter here and there?
Probably the former.
Okay. Well, it's just about as well used as Mr. Kuzer said. And now that I'm in the center, I definitely want to touch the central stone. How does that feel?
Kind of the same. A little bit of a warm.
But no different from the outer stones? No warmer? No.
Well, the sun's been beating down on them all day. Warmer.
Well, has it though? How much of a clearing is this?
Yeah, this was like you're standing now is in the sunlight.
Oh, okay.
The setting sun. Jasper, can you do a spot hidden?
Can indeed. And I have failed.
Can you do a second?
Fast. Standard fast.
Okay. All right, I'm going to come back to you in a second. Tug or Danny, anything in particular?
No, it feels very strange here.
Okay.
I think what's going on is the kids are the ones that come up here mostly.
Yeah.
I think it's them, and the whole story of this whole area being really fruitful farming. It's to do with this somehow. But what I can't get my head around is what the Migo have got to do with it.
Yeah, because didn't the pagans offer sacrifices like the Romans and stuff?
Yes, practically every practically every agricultural society, this seems surprisingly normal.
When you rely on food to survive, and you got to appease the gods before. Yeah, like you say, it suddenly became very normal, and these obviously Kozra is a Christian, but maybe some of these people have some old pagan ancestral beliefs that they keep doing because they're afraid that they're going to starve to death if their crops.
You know, if it weren't for that it seems to work for the intended purpose, I would think that your earlier speculation that it was perhaps an invention of the Migo made sense. But for what possible reason would they bother to improve the fertility of the soil just to traffic with the locals?
I thought you were getting at that maybe this has nothing to do with anything with the Migo.
Well, he heard the buzzing. He heard the buzzing.
Yeah, but unless you've heard it, you're not really going to know what.
Why would anyone who is hearing cackling witches respond with such certainty to such a direct question about buzzing metallic voices?
Maybe then the Migo are behind it. For all we know, they let these people do this, and then they there
is another explanation that occurs to me, and it's no less bizarre than everything else. What if the Migo themselves also engage in magical practices? If they are from another planet that orbits our star, why might they not have traditions like ours? Perhaps it's one of the only ways they can relate to people here.
I don't know. That's wild speculation as far as I know.
Well, it's a lot more likely than vampires, but it's just as likely that you're right and that they're somehow in control of the whole thing. But I still can't see what their motive would be. We know that they can open doors to other places, other realms.
If the Migo are mining stuff out of the ground and they don't want people around, they might somehow spread rumors. I still think that there is somebody in town who's in league with them.
Maybe the Migo. Well, farmers want things to come up out of the ground. Maybe the Migo want the same kind of help, but for a different purpose. The local people get crops. Maybe the Migo get what they want, whatever it is.
Well, we could always come back in the middle of the night. What, tonight or tomorrow during the new moon?
Well, I reckon we should. Although I can't imagine that that any secretive generational witch cult is going to welcome anthropologists.
I think we might need the B team around as well, because if he's describing things thumping around and screaming out,
Well, we know they can be. We know at least the junior goat men can be shot dead. But Danny, are you really suggesting that what we request is mercenary support in gunning down pagan children and aliens and whatever they summon?
I'm going by the guy's description of some huge creature,
Well, it eats cows, not people, so far. I mean, it's not...
that's the part that seems a little far-fetched. Giant goats.
Well, animal sacrifice isn't far-fetched. Perhaps it doesn't eat its worshippers.
I could easily believe aliens from another planet way sooner than I could believe giant goat gods.
Yes, but we've seen the goat men, and the bug men, and the fish men.
Except that we know that the Migo can genetically change things. What if all those are just tricks?
In which case, as you said, maybe they're deceiving the local these pagans somehow,
keeping them scared. I don't know.
Well, they're not too scared to apparently perform either child sacrifice or peer sacrifice or whatever, and however they're doing it. Clearly, we're seeing the evidence here. There can be no doubt that this is a practicing pagan witch cult. They're not just deluded by stage magic.
Well, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay here or do you want to go home?
Well, you mean camp here for the night?
Well,
That seems a bit early.
does anybody have an almanac?
Yeah.
Jeff, would
No, I don't smoke.
I didn't bring it with me.
Oh, well, then it doesn't do us any good. I don't know.
Well, I have a question. Would it be reasonable that if Jerry already keeps track of the days and hours, as would be typical considering his beliefs and interests, would he know when the new moon was going to be? I mean, can I roll occult or education? Because Jerry does care. I mean, I think by now it might be, if not second nature, something that'd be on his mind.
I was pretty much telling you guys with my hint that there was only a teeny tiny sliver.
Right. Well, the question is it like tomorrow night or the night after, basically?
It's tonight.
Oh, okay. Tonight even. Oh, well, actually, Tug, we might be right on time. Although, again, I wouldn't think they'd be particularly pleased to find the interlopers in their sacred stone circle.
If we don't, well, I said we're going to hide. We're not going to like stand there in the middle and go, well, what's this all about? The other problem is that if we don't tell people, we need to send Sam back and tell him that we're not captured by the Miko.
We need to get some nets and stuff.
Need to get what?
Nets and weapons and...
I think we should just observe.
No,
I don't think that we should do anything.
Dark clothing. We'd need dark clothing. And we'd need to leave the dog back at camp.
Well,
maybe Sam can take the dog back.
Contrary to your speculations, Tug, I never bothered to make a black robe suitable to an occasion such as this. But
you want to join them, don't you?
I don't think so.
I want to hide in the trees.
That sounds like a fine suggestion. I'm in full agreement with you, Tug. I think we should observe them in secret, and I don't think we should plan to engage in any firearms just yet.
Yeah, that's fine.
Certainly no grenades, Danny.
Well, we want to be protected.
Armed. Well, we're armed, and
well, it's okay. I've got a grenade in each pocket anyway, so
exactly. Regardless of what kind of practices they perform, it's hard to imagine that the village children all have pistols and rifles. So we're probably safe enough.
What about the giant goat god thing, though?
Yeah.
I don't think there is such a thing.
I mean, how do you fight a giant goat god if it's whatever it is?
Well, this time we have grenades, like Danny said.
Hooves are that big.
As you say that, Jasper, that's what I was asking you for the spot hidden for earlier. You say that and you look down at the ground. You're standing inside of a depression that's roughly about 26 inches around. Two sort of elongated ovals.
I am going to point to the ground and say,
Godzilla.
I'm going back to the house. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Well, you're probably right, Jasper. You wouldn't want the dog around for this.
I don't want me around for this. Look at that. That is a giant hoof print.
That is remarkable.
That is a 2-foot hoof print.
Jasper, I'm going with you. I'm not sticking around for this. I feel like my head's going to explode.
You guys want to be eaten by a giant goat?
We don't know that the giant goat comes every time.
Doesn't matter. I don't want to find out. I want to go back with you, Jasper.
Yeah, I don't want to be a tasty man carrot for a giant
You
goat.
guys stay and find out for us.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you up for it, Danny?
Here's my notebook. Draw some pictures of it.
We could go back for tea and then come back. I'm feeling hungry anyway.
Here, you can have the other half of my sandwich. Here's my milkshake. You can have that. I don't need them.
Well, coming back later is certainly an option, especially if there's a risk of being discovered. We don't want them to change their plans or call off their ceremony. Do you actually want to come back, Danny?
Yeah. I mean, why? I mean, we've got a whole team here. Why not come back with guys, stationed at the farm or whatever? Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen.
You still want to bring people? You still want to bring enough firepower to kill the goat?
Well, what if 15 Meagle descend? I don't know.
I suggest that you guys go about 600 feet into the woods over there, completely away from the path. And then when you start to hear stuff going on, then you slowly sneak in the pitch black woods, close enough to where you can see what's going on. They'll never have any idea that you're out there.
Unless they can see in the dark.
Yeah.
Why
would you say that?
Because they were flying around in the dark last night and they didn't seem to be bumping into anything.
Well, Danny, I'm game if you are. If you want to go back and then try and find this place again in the dark while they're already there and follow the sounds of buzzing, cackling, laughing, and whatever sound giant goats make, that's fine. And otherwise, I like Tug's suggestion about it just as well.
You're not making it sound very enticing, you know that.
Jeff, how much daylight have we got left before it gets dark?
Yeah, Sam's pointing at his watch come on, guys, we're not prepared for this. Maybe we should think about this and come back a little bit more prepared than what we are.
What do you consider to be more prepared? More guns, or more men, or both?
Yes.
Yes to all.
Let's go.
Down at the big giant hoof print.
Yep. Voice of reason. Let's listen to him.
Mutton monster.
But then tonight's a night, is it not? The dark night of the soul.
Oh well, that would be a shame if we had to miss it.
Sam, are you suggesting we organize more to come back later tonight once they've started whatever it is they do?
I'm just going to start walking.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with him.
All right.
Does Sam
Come on,
even
Sam,
answer
let's
me,
go back to the car.
Does Sam even answer me, or does he just walk off?
Yeah, he sees Tug and Jasper turn, and he starts to follow them.
Okay, Jerry, I don't think we can do this on our own. Let's head back and get a plan.
All right.
We can still come out tonight if we want, but we'll need to be careful.
Yeah, you do that.
All right.
Thanks, Jasper.
And I guess we can end it there.
Right.
That's the last time I shoot a demon for you, bud.
I'm slowly working my way back down the sanity thing. Our players included... Oh, that's not you. What did I do wrong here?
Jeff Wilkins.
Our players included Mick Swan, George C., Ken Trench, and myself, with Ch4 Wilkins as the keeper of the secrets. We're currently producing up to 5 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production. In order to create a richer listener experience, we provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. The costs involved with the shows are provided almost entirely by our patrons. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If you'd like to support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. You can find a link in the description below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch that bell icon for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.